Isla stood in the middle of the living room, her hands shaking, her eyes already wet. Her mother, Diane, stood across from her, breathing hard, her face red with anger. The apartment felt too small for both of them, as if the walls themselves were listening to every word. "You think you can just do whatever you want?" Diane shouted. "You think life is a joke? You're 19 and already acting like you know everything." Isla tried to keep her voice steady, but it cracked. "Mom, I'm trying. I go to class, I work my shift, I come home and help Eli. I'm doing everything." "Everything." Diane cut her off sharply. "You can't even keep your room clean. You leave early, come back late, talk back to me. This is not how I raised you." Isla's stomach twisted. "I'm not talking back. I'm just explaining." But nothing she said mattered. Diane wasn't listening. She never listened anymore. "You're ungrateful," Diane snapped. "Ungrateful and irresponsible." Isla felt something break inside her. "I'm doing my best," she whispered, but Diane only grew louder. "Your best?" Diane slammed her hand on the table. "Your best is not good enough. I'm tired. I'm done arguing with you." Isla opened her mouth to speak again, but before she could, Diane grabbed her backpack from the floor and hurled it at her. It hit Isla's feet with a heavy thud. "Get out!" Diane screamed. "You're ungrateful. Get out and never come back." Isla froze. She couldn't breathe for a moment. Everything went silent except for the sound of her own heartbeat. She stared at her mother, waiting for her to take the words back, to soften, to say something, anything, that showed she didn't mean it. But Diane didn't. She stepped forward and pushed Isla toward the door. "I said get out." A neighbor's door creaked open down the hallway. A pair of curious eyes peeked out, then quickly disappeared. Little Eli, Isla's younger brother, stood in the corner with tears streaming down his cheeks. "Hey Isla, don't go," he whispered, hugging himself tightly. Isla felt her heart shatter. "It's okay, buddy," she whispered, forcing a smile she didn't feel. "It's okay." But it wasn't. She picked up her backpack with trembling hands, opened the front door, and stepped into the cold hallway. The door slammed behind her so hard the walls shook. She stood there for a moment, alone, stunned, staring at the chipped paint on the floor. She felt empty and full of pain at the same time, humiliated, angry, and heartbroken all at once. Slowly, she walked down the stairs and out into the night. The air was cold, biting against her skin. She pulled her jacket tighter around her and kept walking, even though she had nowhere to go. Her phone buzzed. She wiped her eyes and looked down. A message from an unknown number flashed on her screen. "You shouldn't let her talk to you like that. You deserve the truth." Isla stopped walking. Her breath caught in her throat. The night suddenly felt even colder, and far more dangerous. Diane raised Isla and her younger brother Eli alone after their father left. She worked 2 jobs most of the time, cleaning houses during the day and working at a grocery store in the evenings. She rarely slept, and when she did, it was usually on the couch with her clothes still on. Life was hard, and money was always tight. Every month felt like a battle she barely survived. Because of this, Diane became strict, too strict. She believed that if she didn't control every small thing, everything would fall apart. Her voice was often sharp, her rules heavy, and her patience short. She thought she was protecting her children, but her fear and exhaustion made her harsh. Instead of love, Isla often felt pressure. Instead of warmth, she felt tension. Isla grew up fast. She didn't really get to be a child. While other kids played outside, she washed dishes, cooked simple meals, helped Eli with homework, and tried to keep the house quiet so Diane wouldn't explode. She learned to read her mother's moods like weather. One wrong word could start a storm. She became the strong one in the family, the one who held everything together when her mother fell apart. She didn't complain. She didn't argue. She just tried to help. But all that responsibility made Isla carry a weight she never asked for. She learned early that showing weakness only made life harder. So she smiled even when she was tired. She stayed calm even when she was scared. She kept the peace even when she was hurting inside. Now, after being kicked out, Isla walked through the city in the cold night, trying to understand what had just happened. Her mother's words still echoed in her head. Get out and never come back. She didn't know if she should cry, scream, or just disappear. She felt lost. Her friend Lena lived in a small apartment near campus and agreed to let her stay for a few nights. Isla was grateful, but her chest still felt tight as she placed her backpack on the floor and sat on the edge of the couch. Are you okay? Lena asked softly. Isla nodded even though she wasn't. Yeah, I need to think. She tried calling her mom again. The call rang once, then went straight to voicemail. She tried texting her. No response. It hurt more than the fight itself. Her phone buzzed again. Isla's stomach dropped. Another message from the same unknown number. You need to know what she did. Isla stared at the screen for a long time. Who was this person? How did they know about the fight? And what were they talking about? She replied. Who are you? No answer. She tried again. What do you mean? What did she do? Still nothing. She threw her phone beside her and rubbed her eyes. Her whole life, Diane told her that their father left because he didn't love them. She said he walked out one night and never returned. Isla believed it because she had no memory of him. She never questioned it. But now, someone was hinting there was more to the story. Isla tried to push the thought away. Her mother wasn't perfect, but she couldn't have lied about something that big, right? Still, something felt wrong. Diane always got angry whenever Isla asked about their father. She always changed the subject. She always looked uncomfortable, almost scared. Isla remembered moments from her childhood that suddenly felt strange. The night she heard Diane crying alone in the kitchen. The time a family member mentioned her father's name and Diane snapped at them. The boxes Diane kept locked in her closet for years. Were these things clues? Or was she imagining it because she was upset? Her phone buzzed again. A third message. You deserve the truth. She hid too much from you. Isla felt a chill run through her. The room felt smaller. Her heart beat faster. Why would a stranger say this? Why now? And why did it feel believable? She looked at the ceiling and whispered to herself, Mom, what did you hide from me? The questions wouldn't stop. The fear wouldn't stop. And the strange messages kept pushing her deeper into uncertainty. For the first time in her life, Isla wondered if the story she grew up believing, the story of why her father left, might not be the whole truth. And the thought scared her more than anything. Meet me. I have evidence. That message froze Isla in place. She stared at the screen, reading it again and again. Her hands began to shake. Evidence of what? Evidence about her mother? Her father? Her past? She didn't want to go. She didn't want to meet a stranger. But something inside her, a quiet voice that had been ignored for years, told her she needed answers. After a long hour of thinking, she finally typed, Where? The reply came instantly with an address near an old cafe downtown. Lena tried to stop her. Isla, this could be dangerous. Please don't go alone. I won't be long, Isla said softly. I need to know. The evening air was cold as she walked toward the cafe. The streetlights flickered. The place looked quiet, almost too quiet. Isla hugged her jacket tightly around her and looked around nervously. A man stepped forward from the side of the building. He was tall with soft, tired eyes and a calm voice. His clothes were simple, and he looked more sad than dangerous. Isla, he asked gently. She hesitated. Who are you? My name is Marcus, he said. I know your family. Her heart raced. Why did you text me? What do you want? I don't want anything, he said. I think you deserve to know the truth. Isla felt fear and curiosity twist together inside her. She didn't trust him, but she didn't walk away either. Marcus motioned toward a small bench. Please, just sit for a minute. Let me explain. Isla sat down slowly, ready to run if she needed to. Marcus opened a worn brown folder. Inside were photographs and papers, old, yellowed and creased. He held out the first picture. This is your father, he said quietly. Isla's breath caught in her chest. She had seen only one picture of him before, an old one hidden in a drawer. But this man, he looked real. Alive. Soft eyes. Kind smile. Your mother told you he abandoned you, Marcus said. That he walked out and never came back. Isla nodded. That's what she always said. Marcus shook his head slowly. But that's not what happened. He passed her another document. It was a police report. The date was from years ago. Isla was only a child. He was forced to leave, Marcus said. There was a misunderstanding. A loud argument. Someone called the police. They believed your mother's side of the story. Isla felt her throat tighten. What do you mean? Forced to leave? Why? Marcus hesitated, choosing his words carefully. Your mother thought he might hurt you. She panicked. She said things she couldn't take back. After that night, he wasn't allowed near the house without causing more trouble. Isla shook her head slowly. No, she said he just left. She said he didn't care. He did care, Marcus said softly. He tried to come back. More than once. Isla looked up sharply. Then why didn't we ever see him? Why didn't he call? Because, Marcus said, voice tight with emotion. Every time he tried, someone blocked him. Someone made sure he didn't get through. Isla's eyes filled with tears. My mom. Marcus didn't answer directly. Instead, he handed her a letter addressed to Diane, never opened. He wrote letters, Marcus whispered. Dozens of them. He wanted to explain. He wanted to apologize for the fight. He wanted to see you and Eli. Isla's hands shook so badly she almost dropped the letter. This couldn't be real. Her entire life she believed her father left because he didn't want them. That was the reason she never asked about him. That was the reason she tried so hard to be strong. But now everything was falling apart. Why are you showing me this? She asked, voice breaking. Marcus looked at her with deep sadness. Because your father isn't the monster you were told he was. And because you deserve the real story, not lies. Isla felt her world tilt. Her heart felt heavy, almost too heavy to carry. My mother lied to me, she whispered. Marcus sighed. Maybe she thought she was protecting you. Maybe she was angry. Maybe she was scared. I don't know. But what she told you wasn't the whole truth. Isla looked down at the photos, the reports, the unopened letters. Everything felt unreal. Wrong. Hurtful. I don't know what to believe, she whispered. Marcus gently closed the folder. Believe what you see. And when you're ready, talk to him. Isla looked up sharply. He's alive. Marcus nodded. Yes. And he never stopped thinking about you. Isla felt something inside her crack wide open. Pain, betrayal, confusion, and a small, trembling hope she didn't want to feel. This moment, the truth she never expected, was the point where everything changed. The old life she knew was gone. And a new, painful journey had just begun. Isla confronts Diane, but Diane refuses to explain. The moment Isla walked back into the apartment, her mother stiffened like she had seen a ghost. Isla's eyes were red, not from crying but from pure confusion and anger. We need to talk, Isla said quietly. Diane crossed her arms. There's nothing to talk about. You left. You told me to leave, Isla replied. And now I want answers. Diane's jaw tightened. Answers to what? Isla took a deep breath. About Dad. Diane froze. For a second, Isla saw fear flash across her face, but then it disappeared under anger. What about him? Diane asked, voice sharp. You said he abandoned us, Isla said softly. But someone showed me things. Papers. Letters. Police reports. Mom, why did you lie? Diane's face turned cold. You're talking to strangers now? Believing strangers over your own mother. I just want the truth, Isla shouted, her voice shaking. Why did he leave? Why did you tell me he didn't care? Diane refused to look at her. She walked to the sink and started washing a cup that was already clean, her hands trembling. Because that man doesn't deserve to be in your life, she said in a low voice. He made mistakes. Big mistakes. And I protected you. Protected me from what? Isla said. From my own father? From knowing who he really was? Diane slammed the cup on the counter. Don't push me, Isla. I did what I had to do. That's not an answer, Isla whispered. But Diane didn't speak again. She just walked away, leaving Isla standing there feeling even more lost. Their relationship cracked deeper than ever before. Eli in the middle. The next day, little Eli sat at the table doing his homework. He kept glancing nervously between Isla and Diane, who were barely talking. Isla, are you mad at Mom? He finally asked in a small voice. Isla's heart broke. No, Buddy. I'm just confused. Mom cried last night, Eli whispered. She said she's scared. Isla felt something twist in her chest. Her mother wasn't just angry. She was hiding something. Something big. Marcus reveals more. Isla met Marcus again, this time at a small park. She sat on the bench, arms wrapped around herself. She won't tell me anything, Isla said. She just keeps shutting me out. Marcus nodded sadly. She's been hiding this for years. It won't be easy for her to face it. Why did she call the police on him? Isla asked, voice trembling. Marcus hesitated. It wasn't supposed to happen like that. They had a fight. He shouted. She panicked. She thought she was protecting you and Eli. So she lied. Isla whispered. She exaggerated, Marcus said softly. And once the police got involved, things got out of control. Isla covered her face. Her entire childhood felt like a story written by someone else. Searching for the truth. Isla couldn't stop thinking about it. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't focus in class. She felt like her whole life had cracks in it, and she needed to see what was underneath. So she began digging. She went online and searched public records. She found the police report Marcus had shown her. Her father had been arrested the night he left. But what scared her most was the line that said, caller reported fear for children's safety. Her mother's name was listed. Isla stared at it for a long time, her heart pounding. Her chest hurt. Was her mother protecting her? Or punishing her father? She called an aunt she barely talked to. The woman hesitated before speaking. Isla, I don't want to get involved, she said. But your mother was very angry back then. She thought your father was going to leave her, so she reacted. Reacted how? Isla whispered. She said things she couldn't take back, her aunt said. Things that changed everything. Isla's stomach dropped. Her mother didn't just react. She may have destroyed their family out of fear and anger. More lies uncovered. Isla found old photographs in her grandmother's house. Pictures of her father holding her as a baby, smiling, looking gentle. Not the monster Diane described. She found a birthday card addressed to her that she never received. She found messages from relatives years ago asking, why won't you let him see the kids? Everything pointed to one truth. Her mother hadn't just hidden the past. She had rewritten it. The emotional twist, but the deeper Isla looked, the more complicated it became. Her father had made a mistake that night. He had gotten angry. He had shouted. He had scared Diane. Diane wasn't lying about that part. She truly believed she was protecting her children from someone who might hurt them. But the problem was, her fear became punishment. Her anger became control. And in trying to protect her family, she ended up tearing it apart. Isla sat alone in her friend's apartment that night, hugging her knees, crying quietly so Eli wouldn't hear over the phone. She didn't know who to blame anymore. Her father had made mistakes. Her mother had made bigger ones. And Isla was the one left holding all the pain. The emotional conflict became unbearable. She couldn't go back. She couldn't move forward. She was stuck between two broken truths. And the only thing she knew for sure was this: her life would never be the same again. Isla finally finds her father, Jonathan, now living quietly in a small town out of state. It took weeks of searching, calling old numbers, and following every lead Marcus gave her. When she finally stood outside his small house, her hands were shaking so badly she almost couldn't knock. The door opened slowly. A man with tired eyes and gray at his temples stood there. The moment he saw her, he froze. His breath caught. His eyes filled with tears. Isla, he whispered, as if saying her name might break him. Isla nodded, her throat tight. Dad. Jonathan covered his mouth, overwhelmed. Then suddenly, he stepped forward and pulled her into a trembling, emotional hug. Isla stood stiff for a moment, confused, hurting, unsure, but then she let herself lean into him. It felt strange and familiar. I've waited so long for this, he whispered. So long. They sat down in his small living room. The place was simple, quiet, lonely. Isla could tell he lived a life far smaller than he once had. I thought you didn't want us, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Mom said you left. Jonathan closed his eyes, pain washing over his face. I never wanted to leave you. Not for a second. Then why didn't you come back? Isla asked, tears in her eyes. Why didn't you fight for us? Jonathan wiped his face, shaking his head. I tried, sweetheart. I tried so many times. But every time I got close, something or someone stopped me. Isla felt her heart tighten. Mom. Jonathan looked away, as if he didn't want to speak badly about her mother. Your mom was scared, angry, hurt. We fought that night. I yelled. I scared her. I scared myself. I made a mistake. So she wasn't lying about that part, Isla whispered. No, he admitted quietly. She told the police she was afraid. And that was enough to keep me away for a while. But that's not the real reason I never came back. Isla's shoulders stiffened. Then what is? Jonathan took a deep breath, steadying himself. His voice was soft, broken. She gave me a choice. Isla frowned. What kind of choice? He looked at her with eyes full of old pain. She said if I ever tried to see you again, she would make sure you hated me. She said she'd tell you things, terrible things. She said she would fill your mind with fear. Isla felt like the room was spinning. She said that. Jonathan nodded. I didn't want you to grow up afraid of me. I didn't want you to see me as a monster. So I thought maybe staying away would hurt less. But it didn't, he said quietly. It destroyed me. Isla's heart cracked in two. She thought she had understood the truth, but now it twisted again. Her mother had lied, but her father had made mistakes too. Both had hurt her in different ways. I don't know what to believe anymore, Isla said, tears running down her face. You don't need to choose sides, Jonathan said gently. Just hear everything. Then decide what feels right. The confrontation. A few days later, Isla made the hardest decision of her life. She asked both her parents to meet. They gathered in a small community room at a local center, neutral ground. Diane walked in nervous and stiff. Jonathan arrived a little late, looking fragile but determined. The moment Diane saw him, she froze. Her face turned pale. You, she whispered. Why are you here? I'm here because our daughter deserves the truth, Jonathan said quietly. Isla stood between them, shaking. No more lies. No more secrets. I want everything out. Right now. At first, both parents avoided eye contact. Then Jonathan spoke. Diane, tell her what you told me the night I tried to come back. Diane's eyes filled with fear. Isla. I was scared. I didn't want him hurting you. That's not all, Jonathan said softly. Tell her the rest. Diane's lips trembled. I said if he came back, I would make the kids hate him. Isla felt her chest break open. Hearing it from her mother's mouth hurt more than seeing it in documents. Why? Isla cried. Why would you do that to me? Torstai Eli. To him. Diane covered her face and sobbed. Because I was afraid. Because he yelled that night. And I thought he would take you away from me. I acted out of fear. Out of anger. I was wrong, so wrong. Jonathan stepped forward. I wasn't perfect either, Isla. I lost my temper that night. I should have walked away. I should have gotten help. Both parents were crying now. Isla stood between them, feeling the weight of years of pain crushing her. All the resentment, all the fear, all the misunderstandings, all the broken love. Everything was pouring out at once. It was messy, painful, and honest. For the first time in her life, Isla heard the truth. Not filtered, not twisted. Just raw and real. And it shattered her. But it also set her free. Isla decides she cannot live under the weight of their choices anymore. She feels tired. Not just physically, but deep in her heart. For the first time in her life, she understands that she doesn't need to carry the pain her parents created. She doesn't need to fix the past. She just needs to protect her future. So she makes a decision. She packs a small suitcase, just a few clothes, her laptop, her books. She looks around her room. The place where she cried so many nights, the place where she felt confused and trapped, and she realizes it's time to leave. She finds a tiny apartment near her college. It's nothing fancy, one small bedroom, a simple kitchen, a window that lets in soft morning light, but it feels peaceful. It feels like hers. For the first time, she has a space where she can breathe without fear or pressure. Isla also signs up for therapy. The first few sessions are difficult. She struggles to talk about her childhood, her confusion, and the lies she grew up believing. But slowly, gently, she begins to understand herself. She learns that she is allowed to feel angry. She is allowed to feel sad. And she is allowed to heal at her own pace. She also sets boundaries with Diane. She doesn't block her mother. She doesn't shut her out completely. But she creates distance. When Diane calls, Isla doesn't always pick up. When Diane texts, Isla replies when she feels ready. Not out of guilt, not out of fear. Just out of choice. Diane, seeing her daughter step away, begins to feel the weight of her actions. For years, she controlled the story. For years, she believed she was protecting her children. But now she sees the truth. Her choices hurt Isla deeply. And losing her daughter, even a little, scares her in a way she has never felt before. So Diane also starts therapy. She doesn't change overnight. She still struggles with guilt, excuses, and fear. But little by little she tries. She learns to listen. She learns to apologize. She learns to face the past she spent years hiding from. Meanwhile, Jonathan and Isla begin building their relationship from the ground up. It's slow, gentle, and cautious. They don't pretend everything is perfect. They don't ignore the pain. Instead, they talk honestly, sometimes through tears, sometimes through long silences. Jonathan tells her stories about her childhood she never knew. Isla asks questions she was always afraid to ask. They go for walks together. They share simple meals. They laugh a little, cry a little, and try to understand each other again. And somewhere along the way, Isla starts to feel lighter, stronger, more like herself. She focuses on school, putting her energy into her classes and her future. She studies at her tiny desk by the window, sipping tea, feeling the quiet peace of her new life. For the first time, she isn't living in someone else's shadow. Not Diane's fears, not Jonathan's guilt. She is living for herself. Isla discovers her own voice. Not shaped by trauma. Not controlled by lies. Not silenced by fear. A voice that belongs only to her. Steady, honest, and finally free. Months later, Isla receives a quiet text message from Diane. I'm proud of the woman you're becoming. I'm sorry for everything. I'm trying. Isla stares at the message for a long moment. There is no anger in her chest now, no confusion, no heaviness. Just a soft, calm feeling. Something she hasn't felt in years. She doesn't reply right away. She doesn't feel rushed or pressured. She simply places her phone on the table and walks to the window of her small apartment. Outside, the evening light is warm and gentle. Cars pass slowly. People walk by laughing, talking, living their own lives. And for the first time, Isla realizes she is living hers too, on her own terms. She takes a deep breath, the kind that fills her lungs and clears her mind. She whispers to herself with a small, peaceful smile, I'm finally free. And in that simple moment, quiet, soft, and full of hope, her story closes with healing instead of hurt, strength instead of fear, and freedom instead of pain. Hey besties, thanks for sticking with me till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.